Well, hello gang. How's everybody doing today? I'm not doing well today. I mean, I feel good, but I'm having an allergy attack, and it is just one for the books. My head hurts, my nose is running, my eyes are swollen, they're itchy. I just took a Zyrtec, so I might just doze off in the middle of this. So let me tell you what I did yesterday. I made a video, it was good, and then I sat on the remote. yeah, I sat on the remote somehow, and it ended. So of course, when I tried to start it up again, I knew I was gonna have to edit. Well, the editing didn't go so well, and I ended up just messing up the whole entire video. So here I am again, and I got on different hair. My daughter hates it. But you know, I like it. And my husband used to like it too. When I would look different when he'd come home, I guess we'd play, you know, mixing it up a bit, not same old, same old. Well, I had a really small, it wasn't even a haul, just some stuff that I picked up from the Dollar Tree. And I was going to tell you a story, and I'm telling you this story for several reasons. It's a shower story. And I learned about, well, it's been more than 10 years ago, it was in 2013, that when you're taking a shower, that's all you need to be concerned with, is taking that shower. I was taking this shower. Oh, I'm so glad everybody's here. I missed y'all. When I don't do a video, I feel like I don't have any friends. There's nobody to talk to except my daughters. And we'll touch on that one day. So now that you guys are here, I'm so happy, and thank you. And I don't know if you noticed, but I had a slight name change. I decided that I'm the No Niche channel. Now, years ago, it was niche, but now it's niche. So I'm the No Niche channel because you can't pin me down. I'm all over the place. So you might get anything. So no niche, right? So it's Patsybee and her No Niche life. So, you know, because sometimes I do the hauls, sometimes I just talk, sometimes, well, I tried to cook at one time, and that didn't go so well. I mean, I get really tired in the kitchen, and I did a really good video on gumbo one day. It was too large for my phone. I put it on CapCut. I needed more storage. I never did get it up. So one day I'm going to try and do it again, have my daughter do all the prep. So all I have to do really is just dump everything in the pot to cut it down. Anyway, I'll do that when it gets a little bit cooler. It's too hot right now and I make seafood gumbo, so, you know. Oh, and this comedian, oh, I thought it was so funny. He said, when we dropped the bomb on Iran's nuclear plant or whatever, he said, Iran, do not come to Louisiana. He said, we ain't got nothing here. He said, that's why they call it the bottom. He says, the bottom, we ain't got no tall buildings. We can't drill for oil. He said, the only thing we can do is make you fat, because we got a lot of stuff that we fry and we make good food. He said, but there ain't no reason for you to come here. So he said, don't even waste your gas or your gunpowder. He said, just fly over Louisiana. So if things pop up, I guess I'll just go to Louisiana. Anyway, I thought that was funny. Oh, and I'm going to say that thinking back to Afghanistan, I don't know if we had dropped one of those bomb buster bombs before or whatever. And I don't think we really know how far down this thing went, and if it did, how much damage it's done. I think that our president is pumping this up, And also, you have to be leery of us when we're trying out our bombs, because the last time that we really tried out one that was devastating for Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So, I hope this is rectified and everybody is happy and we can have the not happy, but we can work together and we have the ceasefire, because we don't need another anything. And the past few that we've had, we've spent a lot of money, lost a lot of lives, and we walked away not winners. So we kind of just need to sit back. And I want to say, in talking about the current administration, where is Barron? I don't know about y'all, but I haven't seen Barron anywhere. He wasn't even at his father's birthday. And that's when, you know, your dad's over everything, and instead of playing with little toy soldiers, you can demand that real soldiers march before you and stuff. And it seems like, you know, Barron would be there, but there was no Barron. So just curious, nosy, more than curious. That's why I don't have a niche or a niche. Anyway. Oh, and I got this in the mail yesterday. I had ordered them from Amazon. Some different sunglasses. I thought they were really cool. Look at my eyes are all whatever, puffy and, oh, let me not say that. That's a bad word nowadays, puffy. But don't I look like a star? Oh, no pictures, please. No, 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 please. Not now, no. But I thought these were cool, and I can wear them for the 4th. And I have a cute little green hat that I can wear. And I've already got my outfit. It's not red, white, and blue, but it's like a tan and white. Anyway, I think we're going to go over on my daughter's, because she has a boat and she lives on the lake. And they like to get out. I don't like to get out in the boat. Because number one, it's not cool out on the lake. It's hot. And they just ride around the lake. And it's just hot riding around. So I'd rather stay in the house watching something on TV or listening to music with the AC. Plus, I don't swim. I know. Seattle's my home. And all that water, and I don't swim. But I made sure my kids swam. All of them. They went to Red Cross and learned how to swim. But, so, I'm redoing the cups in my kitchen. All the cups I have are really old, and they're like from Texas Women's University, and I think they've even changed the name to that. And most of them are military cups, you know, goodbye Fort Ord, see you in the rearview mirror, and my grandma was a paratrooper, you know, stuff like that. So little by little, I'm replacing all the cups. And these were at Dollar Tree, and they were $1.25 a piece. And I just thought they were pretty, and they look like summer. You know, I know they look like water. You would have these if you lived on the water. It would be great for my daughter, but she doesn't have that kind of theme in her house. Duh. So anyway, I bought those. Now they had plates and bowls, but the plates and bowls, the color wasn't even on it. I don't know, it just looked, it looked kind of tacky. So maybe I'll go back, maybe they'll have a different shipment in that looks a little bit better. And I'll get the plates and the bowls, at least 4. I got 6 of these. So if y'all know anybody that you think might like our channel, would you share one of my videos with them and maybe they'll subscribe? It's going on almost 2 years that I've had my channel, and I still don't have 1,000 subscribers, and I really would like to have 1,000. Yeah, okay. And also in my house, you know, my everyday flatware is disappearing. So I thought when I go to Dollar Tree, I'll pick up, you know, some forks, spoons, knives, not all at once. And I think the problem is most of the time we use paper plates, paper bowls, because I don't like, I'm not going to be responsible for doing dishes, number one. So I buy all the paper products. And I think that a couple of people don't pay attention and they throw away the utensils. So I'm trying to pick up some extra utensils. I also got a bonnet because I wear these other little things that look like skull caps. But I thought the little bonnet would look a little bit better. So I'll be wearing that. And also, my hands are getting so weak, you know, I can't open any jars or anything. And I'm sure that comes from age, and it comes from, I'm just losing whatever in my arms and stuff. And I know I should do exercises. But anyhow, I sent for these weights. And they sent me 4 of them. And the other one is in the room. And I don't know, it says on here, I think they must weigh like about 1/4 of a pound each. But anyway, it says, just wear them, and at the end of the day, you'll feel it. You don't feel it while they're on, but you'll feel it at the end of the day that you did have them on. And hopefully I can build some strength up in my arms. And you can wipe these off. They're like a soft rubber or something. You can wipe them off to keep them sanitary. And I got this at QVC. And they weren't real expensive. And I never run out of cotton balls. And my daughter's dog had a hot spot, and so she was coming in my room, and she was getting the cotton balls. So the other day, I reached in to get a cotton ball, and I didn't have not even one. So I picked up some cotton balls from Dollar Tree. Now my daughter has sweaty feet, like a dude. And I guess she threw this in my basket because I didn't even know I had it. Now, I want to talk to you about something. It's just me, it's just us, you know. So, oh, and I got some cookies. You know those shortbread cookies that you get around the holidays? They had a small tin, so I got one of those because I love those cookies with my coffee. I really got 2 of them. I don't know where the other one is. It's already disappeared. And I bought some nail polish. I bought another color. I bought pink, but I gave it to my daughter for our toes for the 4th. I guess I should have gotten red. Yeah. And I think that's about it. Well, let me go back to the shower first. So my daughter came home and she said, Mom, would you like to go to the White House? And I said, which White House? And she said, the White House, the real White House. and you would get to see Obama, get to meet Obama. And I said, sure, I would, you know, and didn't seem real at the time, but as time went on, I was getting excited. Well, anyway, I was in the shower, and I was thinking about getting out of the shower, taking the clothes out of the washer, put them in the dryer, starting dinner, go outside, do something in the yard that I needed to do, or on the patio real quick. I was thinking about all this stuff instead of thinking about this oil of Olay or whatever it was, body wash that was really oily and emollient, and I was slicker than snot. Sorry. And not paying attention to what I was doing. And so as I was, showering, and washing and thinking about all the stuff that I had to do in the world, all of a sudden I realized that things were going like this in the shower. And then all of a sudden I heard blam, and I hit the bottom of the shower. The pain was excruciating. I couldn't move. I screamed. My husband ran in. He said, "Oh my God, baby, what have you done? What have you done?" And bless his heart, he was trying to pull me out of the shower, and he got me out of the shower, turned the water off and everything. And I couldn't move. I could not move. I was just this big heap on the floor. And he says, "Well, I'm going to call the ambulance." And I said, "Well, try to dry me off and get me one of my loungers to put on. I don't want to be just, out there, And so he did, and in the meantime, I crawled into the front of the house. I could not stand up. So when they got there, and they checked me and everything, and they said, "Did you hit your head?" And I said, "No." And so they looked at him and they said, "Did she hit her head?" Because I guess I was dumb or whatever. No, And he said, "No, she didn't hit her head. She just fell, right on her rear." And they said, "Okay." So they said, "Well, we're going to take you to the hospital." And they said, you're not going to be doing well for the next 6 weeks or whatever." And I said, "Oh no, I can't go to the White House. I can't go see Obama." And I started crying. So they looked at my husband and they said, "I thought you said she didn't hit her head." And he said, "She didn't. She's supposed to go to the White House and she was going to get to meet Obama." So they looked at him like both of them, older people, both of them they're sharing idiocy right now. So anyway, they took me in and they checked me out and everything. And they had me in this great big room where the doctor had the x-ray thing up and he was showing everybody that was there the crowd kept getting bigger and bigger. It was my granddaughter and her husband. It was my daughter and her husband. It was my other daughter and her son. And it was my son's girlfriend and my other son and his girlfriend, because she worked at the hospital, and and it was the nurse and so forth. And so the doctor was showing everybody, where the injury was, and he said, "Thankfully, she just bruised her tailbone." He says, "And it's going to hurt, and it's going to hurt her feelings." He says, "But she'll be okay, and it's just rest, and we'll give her something for the pain, and just one day she'll wake up and she won't be in pain anymore." He says, "It's going to take about 6 weeks." So I knew that in a week or two that I was not going to be able to go to the White House. So anyway, but in the meantime, he says, other than that, we're going to keep her for a day or two and then let her go home. And so Chris, who's my daughter's husband, was selling medical equipment at the time to doctors, in hospitals and whatever. And so he was trying to, and he has on scrubs too, So I think he was trying to show the doctor that he knew a little bit about medicine, or I don't know what he was thinking. So Chris says, "I thought you said she didn't have a fracture." And the doctor said, she doesn't. And Chris says, well, what's that line like going across where her belly is? And he said, well, and he kind of ignored it, and he went on and talked about something else. So then Chris said, no, does anybody else see this? There's a line going across where her belly is. And so the doctor said, well, her pelvic area is fine, there's no fracture, no anything. And so Chris still, he just wouldn't let it go, and the doctor was like kicking rocks and stuff, and looking like he didn't want to say another word. And Chris wouldn't let it go. And so finally the doctor said, that's a roll of fat. The room was like crickets. And I said, thanks, Chris. You put it out there. He just wouldn't let it go. I don't know if he knew that it was a roll of fat and just wanted to embarrass me, or that he just didn't know and just, Anyway, that's my story about the shower. But the point is, when you're taking a shower, enjoy your shower. Just think about washing your hair, soaping your body, paying attention to everything that you're doing in a shower. I think, people slip and fall every day in the shower, and it can be really quite damaging. And some people do hit their head, and if you're our age or any age and you hit your head, a lot of times you end up having a hemorrhage, a brain hemorrhage, and if you survive, you've lost some of your cognitiveness, and you may end up in a nursing home or whatever. So just take your time and enjoy your shower and pay attention to what you're doing. Because that day I really wasn't. I was all over the place as usual. So I wanted to talk about that. But I did get to go. Oh, my daughter calls and she says, well, Mom, I got invited again, and they're having a Christmas party. She said, do you want to go with me to the White House and you'll get to see Obama? This looks like it's not working here, but let's see what's going on. I guess it is. And I said, yes, I would. So I got to go. Here's proof that I went. That's Michelle, my daughter, me, and President Obama. So, and I have to tell you this part of the story. So when we were walking around in the White House, well, first of all, in my wildest dreams, I never dreamed or dreamt that I would even get to see the White House, let alone be in it. To me, even though we had January 6th, the White House was something that I looked up to, and it was on a pedestal for me, it was, whoa, So when we were going around in the White House, and she was showing me different things, because she had been there about 5 or 6 times, so she thought she was, all that. So I told her, I said, I have an urge to march. And she looked at me like I was crazy. And I said, I keep hearing the battle hymn of the Republic in my mind. And she said, Mom, please don't start marching. Please, Mom, please. And I said, I didn't say I was going to, but I just felt like that's what I should be doing. I should be marching through there. Anyway, I don't know why that song came up, and why I associated it with being in the White House, But let me say this. So when we got ready to go, she said, what are you wearing? So I had to show her everything I was wearing. And she said, I don't like your purse. And I said, what's wrong with my purse? I bought it at the PX. It wasn't cheap. I don't know if y'all know it, but PX, military PX, don't have nothing cheap anymore. And they have designer stuff, And she says, well, let me run out and get you another purse. So she comes back with this itty bitty little purse, and she goes, just enough to carry your phone in, And so we go. And so they said, your mother's on a cane. Well, she doesn't have to stand in line to take a picture with the president. Bring her to the front of the line. So we didn't have to stand in this long line, and I was standing behind George Stephanopoulos. And so anyway, they took us to the front of the line, and we got our picture with him. So we were all supposed to put one hand or arm behind the person that was next to us. And I was so frightened to touch him. If you notice, my arm's hanging down in front like it wasn't mine. I was scared to touch him. And so when it was over, and I said, I think I messed this up because I was scared to touch him. And Michelle looked at me and she said, why? He's not the queen. So, nobody can touch the queen, but she said, only president, I thought that was kind of cool. We all laughed anyway, even though it was a forced laugh. He laughed too. So, so that was my experience in the White House. And the other thing that I wanted to talk to you about is, Kate's missing. Princess Kate. Haven't seen her in about 5 days, nowhere in the news. And right before she came up missing, they had put out a thing that she wasn't wearing her wedding rings anymore. So that's quite unusual. And the woman that Prince William has been accused of having an affair with just had another baby. So I'm wondering if there's some real problems in there. I just hope she's not out of remission. That's what I really hope. And let's see, we covered Barron, and I talked about the Christmas party, and I did get to meet Obama, and I told you about the hospital. So here's another thing that I want to talk about. And please, this is just a different angle of what's going on. Brittany Griner, the basketball player that looks, I don't know if she looks like a man, but she talks like a man. And her body is like a man. I don't think her face necessarily looks like a man. She doesn't have a big square jawline and big nose, features that men usually have. She doesn't have that. But she does have the height. I think she's maybe 6'9", 10, and slim hips, she's built like a man. Well, years ago when she was at Baylor and she got my attention, I had talked to some people that knew some people that knew some people that said Brittany was born with both sex organs. And I think her parents wanted her, they said that one would take over the other or whatever. And I think they wanted her to live her life and have a choice. Back when I was born, when people were born like that, the doctors automatically made the decision and took one or the other. But I think they let her parents or her mother, because I understand that it's been said that her father will not discuss it. I guess he wasn't on board, didn't know what to do. But here's what I want to say. First of all, and I've seen some really bad things online about Brittany. Brittany was wrong in her comment about Caitlyn. I think she said something like F the white trash girl or something like that. She shouldn't have said that. That's wrong. I think what should have happened, I think the WNBA should have fined her and maybe made her miss, some games or something like that. But the stuff that's coming out now, the things that people are saying, about her sexuality, that she's definitely a man and she shouldn't be been playing with women, and that she may have more male chromosomes. I mean, I don't know. Well, now they're going to make everybody take a test. Everybody that plays in the WNBA has to take a test. And they have to be, I guess, more female than they are male. So I don't know what's going to happen to Brittany, but I think that we ought to have a little bit of grace towards her. I mean, this is a thing that Mother Nature did. This is not a thing where she grew up in a house and saw her mother being beaten, decided that she wanted, didn't want to be a woman, wanted to be a man or whatever. This is stuff that's totally out of her control, and I would imagine that if her or her parents could have picked something else, a different life or body, they would have. But what do you do when you've been dealt that hand? And I really worry about, I don't know her personally, but I worry about her and this that she's going through, that she gets through it and whatever. And I want to say too that 100 years ago, if it's true about her anatomy, people like that were put on display, and people came and paid money and pointed at them and made fun of them and stuff, Thankfully, we're above and beyond that, but at the same time, I still think that she needs a little grace. And then people are upset with her also because the last government decided to exchange a known ruthless killer and terrorist for her freedom. I have no idea why that decision was made. I don't know. And if y'all know, tell me, put it in the comments. But that was out of our hands again. She didn't know, and she still doesn't know. Why did they let the butcher of Baghdad, or whatever name he had, why did they let him go and in exchange for her? So, that diplomatic and political stuff, we probably never will understand. But still, again, just think if this was your child, your daughter or your son. A lot of people would have, a lot of parents give those people up. They just put them in institutions and just let them stay there forever. But hopefully we've gone past that. And the decisions that you have to make in your life, either yes or no, right or left, but then you have to look at the fact that you don't know physically if you're a male or female. Anyway, I just think that, and then people were also mad at her, but I thought the kneeling came after, taking a knee, and that was during the George Forman murder. They were mad at her about that. But I feel about my country like I feel about my family. I love my family. I love my country. But when my family's wrong, I'm going to say, you're wrong. And so when my country's wrong, I'm going to say, you're wrong. But it doesn't mean that I don't love you and that I'm not going to stand up for you and that you are my world. I'm just not going to say that everything is right. So I guess that makes me an idealist. Oh well. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed our little chit-chat today. And those are just some of my my ideas and things that bother me, that it's kind of hard for me to shake. And, when I hear certain things. And I just think that we just really need to be kinder to each other. And here again, nobody knows what the other person is going through or why, So we just need to kind of back off a little bit, and give people space. Now, I don't want to give y'all so much space that you don't stop in and see me from time to time and talk to me. I love your comments. I love all your comments. And I go back, and sometimes I've missed some because you look at some videos that I've already replied to, and I have to go back and check them and send you a reply. But anyway, thank you guys for coming. And I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you like the new name, the No Niche Channel. And I'll see you next time. And I'll see you